Hi everyone, my name is Melody Santiago, and today I'm going to be talking about the Singapore culture. There you go. So the overview of the presentation is going to include the location, tourist locations, majority population and language, religion and culture, celebration and holidays, food system, career paths, sports, and fun facts. So, Singapore is located in the Southeast Asia, where Malaysia is to the north of it and Indonesia is to the south of it. And it is considered an island. And there's also small islands around it as well. How it looks like, so it has the vibrant modern state, small tropical island where the weather is typically warm, city-like, well known for their skylines. And I also added a picture of how it looks like on the daytime and nighttime. So on the top, you can see it's kind of cloudy, but you have a good overview of like the buildings and how it looks. And then at night, when the sun goes down, you can see how bright it looks as well. If you haven't seen pictures or videos of Singapore at night, you could just tell how they use technology and how modern it is. It's mesmerizing. Some key location is the Marina Bay, Little India, and Chinatown, which I'm going to talk about as well. So the Marina Bay is the most famous building in Singapore. It's known for the Sky Park, Infinity Pool, City View, casino, and shopping centers. It also has different attractions like the Flower Dome, has like glass greenhouse, plants from various Mediterranean regions. I also added pictures of that. So the building, how it looks like from the outside is this one right here. You can see how huge it looks. And then the inside, this is where the shopping centers are at. So it's just like a small portion of everything that's in that building. Little India is also well known. It's known because of the bright colored buildings compared to like the Marina Bay. It's more because of like their lights. And then Little India is known because of like it's bright because of their buildings and the colors that they are. Sensory experience of Indian culture. So it has like food and traditions. They also have a Hindu temple, which is important for the devotees, especially during festivals like Diwali or the Festival of Lights. And I also added a picture of that. So here on the top, you can see the temple, the Hindu temple, and then how the streets kind of look like there as well. Something that I learned about the temples there is that most of them are going to be public, but they do require you to follow some of the rules, which I think is honestly respectful, just because they ask for you to take your shoes off and clean your feet before you enter. And then if your shoulders and knees are showing, they do require you to cover them to go in. Chinatown is very similar to Little India, where you can see the history, culture, and traditions. It explores the history of early Chinese community. It also has a temple, which is the Buddha one, and this one has 5 floors. So the first floor has the sculptures, history, and art. The second floor is the statue of Buddha, and the floor is used for meditation and reflection. Third floor contains an altar for spiritual rituals. Fourth floor is the offering hall, which is like the flower incense and prayers as well. Then the last one is the rooftop, which is more statues and things to look at there. And then I also added a picture of how it looks like from the outside, and then the Buddha statue as well. Population. So 74% is going to be the ethnic Chinese descendants. We also have the Malaya population and Indian community. Language, English is the primary language. Mandarin Chinese is also used, and then Malaya is obviously the national language there. Religion, so you have 3 major religions that people um, that you mainly see there in Singapore. So one of the largest ones though is going to be Buddhism, which as you saw in the previous slides, they have like the temples and traditions that you can do as well. You also see Christianity, which is within diverse populations, and then Islam, which is the Malaya population where it's mainly seen. Celebration and holidays. So Singapore celebrates a variety of holidays because of the diverse populations, but one of the biggest celebrations or holidays that they celebrate there is going to be Chinese New Year. And Chinese New Year is known as um, Chinese New Year, or it's also known as the Lunar New Year. It just depends on the culture that the person is in, and it usually falls between January or February, depending on the lunar calendar. Kind of like New Year's for us, but obviously they follow a different calendar. Most important traditional festival in Singapore. one of the traditions that they do is that they sweep the house for good luck. They also, once the festival is going on, they have like lion dances, dragon dances, and fireworks. I added pictures of how the parade can look like, and then as well as the dragon dances. And then something interesting that I found about like the foods is that they eat different foods before the Chinese New Year, during, and then it's mainly before and during. So for example, they eat different foods for good luck, and obviously they have different meaning. So for fish, they eat fish, but they leave the head and the tail. They don't eat that just because it represents abundance, meaning that if you leave some of it before the year begins, you'll have more when the year starts, again, representing money. They also eat chicken, shrimp. Shrimp is for a joyful year. Lettuce, again, is for money. And then they also eat rice cakes, which for them, it represents like a new job opportunity, or if you're a student, then good grades as well. Lantern Festival. The Lantern Festival is celebrated on the 4th and the 14th of the lunar month, which is kind of like the it's included within the Chinese New Year, but this one's more like rituals, like crossing of the fire, where they put like the hot rocks and then you walk past them, and it's more Hainanese cultured, where they have like opera performers, and it can last up to 2 days as well. And then I also added pictures of how it can look like with the performers there, and then the lanterns that they put up as well. Food systems, so increase of self-productions and technology. They have something called vertical farming, which is it's indoor, and it's basically imitating natural climate for their plants and things that they're growing in there. An advantage that they see there is that it shields from hazardous pests, and it's the ideal condition where they are able to control the lighting, humidity, nutritions, and everything there, just so that it can prevent any like health health effects from that. They also have like smart packaging, where it reduces food waste, provides safer food by extending the quality. Smart packaging also contains response mechanisms that can neutralize hazardous changes occurring in the food. I feel like because they're a small country and they're basically like in a little island on their own, very hard to get food to them. So having this available there in Singapore obviously allows them to plant their own foods throughout the whole year. Career paths. So three major career paths that people usually go for is business, healthcare, and engineering. So within business, you see people do like investment bankers or insurance agents. Within healthcare is doctors and surgeons, which is more in high demand. Or you also see medical technologists, engineering, which is like teachers, professors, or education administration overall. The currency in Singapore is going to be Singapore dollars. So the salary, obviously, it depends on the career path. An example of that is like for the doctors, they make 5,000 and 10,000 per month, which is equivalent to 3,700. I mean, 3,700 to 700, 400 here in the US. And then the living expenses, so the housing, if you own like a private apartment, it's 1,800 to 3,500 a month. And then utilities like electricity, water, gas is 150 to 300. And then transportation, if it's a public transportation, usually it's between like 100 or 150. And then if you own your own car, obviously they do like payments and stuff, but the car can cost up to like 50 to $100,000. So sports, um, the strongest fan base is going to be seen within soccer. They call it football there, though. They have professional leagues where they also compete in tournaments and things like that. They have table tennis where they have also won medals like within the Olympic Games, World Table Tennis Champions, and Asian Games. Swimming is one of the most encouraged sports that is seen within like children and seniors, just because it has like that cardiovascular benefits. And they've also won Olympic medals in 2012, or the first Olympic medal. And some fun facts. So it is a city state Well known for the vibrant colors, the buildings, and it is a green state. Diverse population considered like a melting pot, including different traditions and foods as well as religion. And some fun facts that I found is that it's one of the cleanest cities and it's illegal to chew gum there. They have strict laws like smoking in public. They're very against that, as well as jaywalking. And they do have wildlife roaming around, like monkeys, water monitored lizards, and bats as well. And that's going to be my references of where I got my information from. And that's going to be it.